Wilds Unknown, the 12th set of Lorcana is on its way, and with the set comes 2 brand new products. And today, I'll be reviewing one of them for you, which is specifically the brand new 2-player starter set. Is it good? Is it bad? Let's dive in and give you my honest thoughts of this set in the next edition of X Marks for Lore. Avast me hearties, and welcome to another edition of X Marks for Lore with your captain of the Azurite crew, Dom, the expert of Coles. I hope you're all doing great out there and you're really hyped for Wilds Unknown like I am. But Ravensburger, being the legends that they are, have supported the channel and graced me with the honor of not just having some quirky merch that we're going to be opening up and talking about later, but I have had a hands-on preview and a hands-on experience with the 2 new products coming into Wilds Unknown. I have covered the pre-release kit already, so if you want me to talk about the pre-release kit and want to give my honest thoughts on that before you sign up to your pre-release events, then check that video out over here on the big one, because I've got to tell you, that pre-release kit is amazing. But today we're going to be talking about the 2-player starter set, the next product from Disney's Lorcana, and the one that is the expansion idea on the single-player starter decks. Let's dive in. So first things first, what is the 2-player starter set? The 2-player starter set is exactly what you think it is. It's an expansion on the single-player starter set, where instead of getting 1 deck, you're getting 2. That's right, 2 pre-built decks in a single box that you could just pick up from store shelves. This one specifically is featuring Supers versus Toys, with Mrs. Incredible heading the Supers deck and Buzz Lightyear heading the Toy deck. It is Amber and Emerald versus Ruby and Amethyst to give you the fullest spectrum possible of Supers and Toys. Key to note also in the set that not just does the box have this really fancy foiling to it, but also the lead characters on the box, Mrs. Incredible and Buzz, as well as 2 additional characters inside, Jack for the Supers and Jessie for the Toys, also come in special foiling. And this foiling is similar to the single-player decks from Whispers in the Well, where they have unique foiling that you will not see in the actual set of Lorcana. So for collectors out there, you can consider picking up this set to get the unique foiling on those 4 cards. And I will commend Ravensburger yet again. I don't know how they do it, but they seem to be the masters of packaging, because in this bad boy, not just is it so well packaged, you get everything you need to play the game in this one box. The 2 pre-built decks that I've already talked about, but you also get damage counters, you get lore counters, and you also get deck boxes for both individual decks. And on top of all that, you also get a mini rules guide that will go over the basics of the game that you can immediately dive in and enjoy. But it's not just the rules that you come with, for you see, at the back of both of the playable decks, there is a unique card in there, and the card is something that you can just have out on the board for both players, especially if you're brand new to the game. They give you a full turn breakdown on how the game is played, which I think is an amazing addition for new players to just help them get an idea of how the turn process works, breaking it down for you. And I will say this straight from the get-go. If you are brand new to the game, if you and a friend or you and a family member, be it your dad, your mum, your brother, your sister, whomever it may be, if there is a pair of you wanting to get into the game together, I think this 2-player set is perfect for you. Because then you both have 2 decks to go with that you can go against each other with, and then after you've played each other a couple of times with the first decks, you switch them over, you can play each other's decks and go hog wild. And because you have 2 decks to get yourself started with the game of Lorcana, you have 2 decks with 4 colors represented from the game. So that's quite a number of cards in there to get you started with your journey in the game as well, if you want to pursue things further. And I have to commend the set for including everything that you're going to need. You get your counters, you get your lore counters, you get your rules guide. You can literally just pick this up off of the shelf and start playing straight away, which is excellent design. And just in case you're concerned that, but are these 60 card decks, are they core constructed legal? They are. So the decks do include cards from some of the previous sets, but all the previous sets that are represented in these decks are core constructed legal. So if you and your friend were to pick this up, start playing with each other, and then you thought to yourselves, oh, I want to go to my locals and maybe take this deck to locals, get the vibe, and join in with other people. This is a great entryway for both of you to get into your locals, which is fantastic, because you already have a 60 card deck that's core constructed legal right outside of the box. You can just go to your locals and enjoy and play with, which is brilliant. But here we get to some brutal truths, and this is the part of the video that I need to say something first. Like what I said with the pre-release kit, Ravensburger are happy for me to be as open as I want to be with these reviews. I'm not being manipulated, I'm not being convinced to go one way or the other. I am literally being told, be honest with us, give us your honest thoughts. Thank you very much, RB, because now I am going to be critical about this set. So this 2-player set is excellent for new players. But if you're already an established player, if you're even a collector of the Lorcana game, and you want those special foil cards, I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't think this is for you. This set is very good for new players, but for established players, it's not very good at all. I have so many criticisms of the 2-player set coming from the perspective of a player that is established, goes to his locals, plays as set champs, and who has gone to his first DLC in 2026. And I need to point this out for other players that are in a similar boat to me. So first things first, we need to put some things into perspective. Both decks only have 1 super rare card, and then 5 rare cards, at 1 copy each. That means the special foiling of the super rare you're going to get in the set, and the special foiling you're going to get of one of the rares of the set come with 4 other rares of 1 copy each, and that's it. Immediately taking down the competitive viability of these decks. So if you are desperately looking for 2 to 3, maybe even 4 copies of some of these core cards, especially since we're dealing with new classifications such as toys and supers, you're gonna be missing out. You get 1 copy of Mrs. Incredible, 1 copy of Jack Jack, 1 copy of Buzz, 1 copy of Woody, and 1 copy of the other cards, which quite frankly are pretty darn core to these classifications. And even then, I understand why the Supers deck is in Ruby and Amethyst, because you have a bunch of Ruby and Amethyst super cards, and even then you do have some pre-established super cards that are featured in this set, including Negaduck from Winterspell. The Supers deck is more so themed around, instead of questing all the time, challenging more of the time, so that we can gain lore and our opponents can lose lore, while the toys are kitted out to be able to spam the board as fast as possible, make it big and wide, put out your toys, make Woody and your other toys bodyguards so that they can take the blows while your toys are questing most of the time. And out of the 2 decks, the toy deck has a lot more new stuff going for it, which is a lot more incentivizing. The Supers deck, at least for me personally, feels underwhelming. And it's even underwhelming where if the toys are doing more of an aggro-based strategy, and it feels and works very well, especially for new players, the Supers deck is kind of going for this lore control strategy, and it's a bit unestablished, because there are some other lore-stealing tech cards that are just not featured in this set at all, but are still core-constructed legal. And I'm thinking of cards like Thievery and Pirate's Life, that are 2 big cards that could have fit in this set beautifully and worked right off the bat. But they're not here. There's barely any card draw. Your main card draw engine is going to be based off the Super Protection program, which returns a character from the board back to your hand, but if it was a super, you do draw 2 cards. It's a good card in itself if you are using it in a Supers deck, and it does work really well within this deck. But it is a 4-cost action, and by that point, you know what card you could have put in as 2 to 3 or even 4 copies of in this deck immediately to make it more viable to new players? Woodchuck's Guidebook. The Woodchuck's Guidebook would have been brilliant in a deck like this, and it's nowhere to be found. And do you know what other cards are nowhere to be found in that Ruby Amethyst deck? but like the idea of controlling your opponent's board, challenging all of the time, and being able to benefit off of that. There's no flinger-dinger synergy at all. So no damage moving apart from Violet, another super introduced in the set. There's no removal options like Dragonfire or Bee King Undisputed. In Amber and Emerald, I'm a lot less biased because that deck is very straightforward, very easy to get into, and quite frankly constructed so well that if you want to get into toys come Wilds Unknown, I could even recommend the set to you if you specifically want to be a toys player, because you get so many toys in this set that immediately work. That deck is built beautifully. The other one, I think, is just missing some key cards that I would have personally put in, that I think would have made the game plan a lot better. It's all well and good giving us a bunch of commons and uncommons that are still useful and still synergized with these starter kits. But outside of the box, outside of these decks specifically going against each other, taking these decks to your locals is a big no-no, and I would highly not recommend it. And my logic when I'm trying to encourage people to get into the game, I want to encourage them to get the single-player decks. I want to encourage them to get this 2-player set so they can grab it, open it up, have a deck pre-built, test it a couple of times, take it to their locals. Do I think they would win at a locals? Maybe, maybe not. That's down to the player and the skill of that player and what the deck supplies to that player on the day on the game. I want these players to have a chance. I want these players to have fun. I want these players to see how their decks can compete at the locals level and beyond. I don't want the idea of recommending these sets to players, having these players rip the boxes open, enjoy their experiences going against each other with their boxes, and then going to their locals, going against these core constructed infinity level decks that are really well built with established players and immediately getting trounced. Not because the players are experienced, but because the decks they're playing are immediately flawed outside of a box. And most of that flaw comes from the inclusion of more rare cards. So I think if you are going to make these decks moving forward, more rare cards are brilliant. And it's not just for the sake of having more rare cards, it's for the sake of making these decks better against each other and better outside of the set itself for players looking to play the game at higher levels later on. To continue some of my criticisms about the 2-player starter set, let's talk about the deck boxes. They look great. I love the fact that the deck boxes have artwork on them featuring the main face characters. I love that on the sides of a box you can immediately tell which box belongs to who because of the ink symbols on them. That's brilliant. Love it. You know what I don't love? It's the same criticism I had with the box with the Wilds Unknown pre-release kit. Flappy lids. These lids are bad. Even though these do store the decks very well, with plenty of space if you do want to sleeve them, which is fantastic. These boxes, clippy clappy flimsy. There's a... I'm very critical about cardboard boxes for deck boxes, and that is my main criticism. If this thing turns sideways, falls over, collapses on a table, these cards are going to go all over the place. But do I understand why these are in here? Yes, to keep the price down, to make it more accessible for the 2 players that are getting into this set. I get it. Which leads me on to my next criticism, which is about the damage counters and the lore counters. Am I happy that they're included in this set? Absolutely. The damage counters are cardboard pop-outs, but we've had that before in the single-player sets. I think that needs to be rolled out, especially because the pre-release kits have their own dice now, and those dice are beautiful. If I had a set of those dice, or a uniquely coloured set of those dice in this kit, oh my lord, this kit would be amazing. I don't care if there are only 4 dice in the entire set. Those 4 are then split between 2 players learning the game for the first time, and that's perfectly fine. Even if you upped it to 8 and one player gets 4, the other player gets 4, I think that's brilliant. I think that's a really big incentive to help players get into the game a lot more. But outside of that, the lore counters. Here's what they look like. Yeah, 2 separate bits of pop-out cardboard. Now, the big thing about this, and I will congratulate Ravensburger on this as well, is that in the rules book at the back, it does incentivize downloading the Lorcana app on your phone, and you can even use the Lorcana app on your phone as a lore counter for either you as a single player or with you and your friends with a 2-player counter. I highly recommend you do this when you buy this set. Not just is the app incredible anyway, and I highly recommend getting the app for keeping tabs on your collection, building decks. It's a brilliant app because it helps calculate lore totals as well for new players, which is ace. These, however, are not ace. I do not like these. I do not think these are good. I think I have the same criticism of these as I have with the damage counters. If we could add dice into the set, that would be incredible. If we could add unique lore counters, where there is a lore counter for the Buzz side that has Buzz and the toys on it, and there's a lore counter for the Incredible side that has Mrs. Incredible and Jack Jack on it, that would be great. And it also gives an extra incentive for collectors to consider getting the set, because now there's exclusive stuff you can only get in this set, but are of Ravensburger and Lorcana's high level of quality standard that you would want to go out of your way to collect, which is a big incentive. And with that being said, it's time to calm down. Those are my main criticisms. And it may look as if I'm getting mad or I'm getting really angry. I'm not. And I need to let the guys at Ravensburger that could be watching these videos know this. When I'm critical about this product, I'm not critical about it in a bad way, and I'm not critical about it wanting to be critical for the sake of, oh, I need these views! I'm critical because I love this game. I'm critical because I love this community. I'm critical because I love these products. I want these products to be the best possible entry-level products for new players. And this is a step in the right direction to get a pair of players, a pair of whomever, to get into the game. What's better than getting 1 new player? 2 at the same time. I get it. I love it. I want to support this idea as best as I can. But I just feel for the price you're spending on this, in comparison to the price you were spending on the single player set, that did also come with a pack of the set that it came from, might I add, you do not get any additional packs in this set to even add to the decks that are in this set, which could also be another inclusion in the future. The limitations of this set are clear. Are they meant to go against each other outside of a box? Absolutely. So we need to bear that in mind, and I completely understand that design metric. Is the set designed with new players in mind? Absolutely. If anything, this set is perfect for 2 brand new players wanting to get into the games. If you're a family and you want to get into this game, this is perfect for you. This is a fantastic set for 2 players to get in on if you are brand new to the game and brand new to TCGs in general. Anywhere past that, if you're an experienced player of any level, if you're a collector of any level, I just cannot recommend this set to you. And even outside of the decks themselves, there's not a lot here for collectors to collect in general. Outside of those cards, it's not as if collectors can collect for fancy deck boxes, or collect a lore tracker, or collect special dice. There's nothing else in here for collectors, and I'm not even a collector, but I can see it from a collector's lens. So if you want to get more people invested into this, especially if you're looking at collectors, put something collectible in here that you can only get from here. And I genuinely want these single player starter sets and now these 2-player starter sets to improve. I want these sets to be the best they possibly can. Even if we don't get the inclusion of legendaries, even if we don't get the inclusion of a lot of other stuff that I've talked about here, to make these decks better, we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to be honest with Ravensburger and the developers. I love the game, I love the developers, I love the ideas of these sets. I just can't recommend them to established players. I can only recommend them to brand new players. And even though the pool of brand new players is so vast and huge, and this is great for them, your established players that are looking for new products to invest in, to support in, to get because of what they could include for them for their deck build ideas, especially when it includes the new classifications of toys and supers. There's not a lot here for them. Without me ranting on anymore, because I know I've gone on enough in this video, let's wind things back a lot and let's just get to the brass tacks and sum things up. If you are brand new to Lorcana, if you are brand new to trading card games in general, and you like the look of Lorcana and you don't know how to get into the game, this is one way you can get into the game. Whether you're a solo player, whether you're playing with a friend of yours, a family member of yours, and you want to get into the game, even if it's just to get into the game casually and not go to locals, this is a fantastic set for you. You're going to love the 4 cards. You're going to love that it comes with everything you need to play straight out of the box. And if this is the only Lorcana product you ever get yourself, you're going to have fun. Simple as, if you're brand new, this is great. But if you're anything past a brand new player, and if you're an established player going up, and if you're a collector of anything and everything involving the game, there is little here to invest in, there is little here to enjoy, and you might end up being like me, and you might just be disappointed with what you're going to get out of this box with the amount of money you're putting into it. And so with that in mind, if you're a new player, I can recommend it. Do I think it's the best entry-level thing out there? No. I think there's a lot of room for improvement to make this better, such as better, stronger cards, such as better varieties of those cards, such as in the inclusion of legendaries, the inclusion of more super rares, the inclusion of more rares to make these decks more viable, not just against each other, but outside of the boxes to even be an entry-level step to locals. The quality of the additional products you're getting in there, such as the deck boxes, the damage counters, the lore counters, are of a low standard, but they are cardboard. You do have to bear that in mind, but you are getting what you are paying for, and that is why the price is at the level that it is, because if they did include any of the criticisms I had and upped the quality of some of these items, the price will probably have to be increased as well. So you need to bear that in mind. Before we get into my ending for this video, I need to let you guys know that I'm not mad at this product. I'm not angry with this product. I'm disappointed with it. And being disappointed with a product, I think, hits harder than being angry at a product. And I don't think I'll ever be angry with Lorcana at large. To get angry is a really steep step, but to be disappointed hits hard. And I wanted this to be an amazing set for new players, as well as a potential boost for established players if they're looking on getting into these brand new classifications. But I just can't recommend it to anyone outside of being a new player. That's me being completely honest. I'm kind of disappointed, but the fact that this is the first of many to come, and we are going to get a second one, not straight away in Attack of a Vine, and it's at least going to be 6 months until we get another one of these 2-player kits, this means it gives Ravensburger a chance to improve and progress. And if I know Ravensburger, and we have seen Ravensburger from set 1 all the way up to set 12, and even with set 13 looking forward, they are constantly improving. They're constantly looking at what works and what doesn't work. And what helps them are people like me and players like you, saying what you want to say with your heart out there and your love of the game out there to help this game move forward. I hope my criticisms make sense, and even though I am critical of this set, I completely understand what this set wants to do. It wants to be an entry-level set for entry-level players, which it is, and it's designed well for that, and it's fantastic for that. I think I'm more disappointed with this set because the pre-release kit is so near perfect, so fantastic, so brilliant, that it makes the 2-player set that much more disappointing. I'm gonna stop my waffle, I'm gonna stop my criticisms, and I'm gonna stop the video, because if I keep going, we're gonna be here for like 2 hours. But if you have watched this video all the way through, and you have seen my review of this set, let me know what you think about the 2-player set down in the comments below. Whether you're looking at buying it, or whether you're watching this video after you've bought it, and you want to share your experiences with this set, which I'm very much interested in, and I'm sure RB will be interested in as well. And whilst you're down there, you can go on to the description below where you have links to my other socials if you do want to stay in touch with other videos moving forward. And on top of that, you also have that big red shiny subscribe button with the little notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever a brand new video pops up on the channel. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and you don't get too distressed about my criticisms and about how real I'm just being with this set. I want it to be the best it possibly can. It's just not there yet. But that doesn't mean it can't get there in the future. Until next time, where I bring another video of more Lorcana action to you, I hope you are looking forward to the Wilds Unknown, and I hope you are looking forward to these sets and all the other products coming in the future. If you're interested in the fact that I do have a trove and a display box behind me, keep an eye out on the notifications and on my posts on my socials and on YouTube, because I will be doing my first ever X Marks for Lore livestream opening these bad boys for your enjoyment. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, whether we're on the high seas of the Azurite Sea or whether we're parking ourselves up digging for buried booty, I'll be seeing you next time. Chee-hoo! Oh my lord, I don't think I've been this critical of anything in a very long time, but just know I love this game, I love you guys, I love Ravensburger, but I just hope this gets improved upon in the future. But I have all the hope in the world.